And we're back here on Open. Well, last month, the only Barnes & Noble's bookstore in the Bronx closed its doors, leaving many owners and lovers disappointed. However, Noelle Santos put her disappointment aside and decided to take some matters right into her own hands. She's here now to tell us a little bit more about the Lit Bar. We'll tell you a little bit about that. Noelle, good to have you.
Thank you so much for having me.
Good. So now, we have to be honest. In our community, you hear the word lit and bar. That has some totally different connotation. But when we talk about the Lit Bar, we're talking about literacy.
Yes. So I have a hybrid model. We're putting a little spin on the traditional bookstore model. So it's going to be a bookstore / wine bar that I'm bringing to the South Bronx.
So when you talk about this bookstore and wine bar, obviously one of the things that you want to make sure is literacy continues in the borough.
Absolutely.
And we have a lot of challenges educationally and, of course, literacy within our young people. Talk to us about how this is going to work.
So we're going to be a general interest bookstore. We're going to specialize in women and local interests. A big part of our success is and what differentiates us from, a Barnes & Noble or even an Amazon is that our inventory, our events, our programming will reflect the local community. So that's what I hope to bring to the Bronx.
So you're exposing the Bronx to a different kind of literacy. Where did this come from?
So 2 years ago, in October 2014, I saw this petition going around online that said the Barnes & Noble in Co-op City was in jeopardy of being displaced. So I went crazy because I lived at that Barnes & Noble, and I said, okay, I'm not going to just wait around to see what happens. I'm going to do something. So 2 years ago, I started on this lit bar journey to bring books here, and thank God I did at the time, because now 2 years later, it just so happened that the Barnes & Noble did meet its end, and now I'm all ready and in place to avenge my brothers.
Give me a little bit for those people who've been to Barnes & Noble. Of course, I've been there. A lot of people have done book signings and all kinds of things and events there. What does it mean not having a Barnes & Noble's or even a bookstore in that area to you?
Yeah, where do I start? First, I think the most important thing is the message that sends to our children. Your community doesn't have a bookstore, and the next closest Barnes & Noble that we have is in 86th Street, which would take you like 40 minutes to travel to. The Barnes & Noble that we did have, it was also very inaccessible. It would take you almost 50 minutes to get there by public transportation. And that's something that I wanted to change, create a more accessible bookshop.
So when we talk about the Lit Bar, there's going to be an opportunity for people to actually read and have some wine and really take care of business in terms of literacy. But give me something about underground artists, because I also want to expose people to that too.
Yes, so my goal is to have launch a consignment program for local authors, and I would love for my inventory to reflect about 20% of just local authors. So coming up from the Bronx, I used to buy my books from street vendors, from authors selling their books out of the trunks of their cars, and now I want to bring a hub for people to monetize their work, and not have to go to Manhattan or Brooklyn, to do that. I want to keep the money here, the jobs here, the opportunities right here in the Bronx.
So you had an event yesterday. Tell us a little bit about yesterday.
So yesterday I launched the crowdfunding campaign. The goal is an ambitious $100,000, which is going to help me buy the opening inventory and our point of sale inventory management system. Overnight, it's been less than 24 hours and we already surpassed $3,000. So the support from the community is really strong, and we're keeping this going through March 18th, and we're striving to be open by spring, by May.
So as far as partners are concerned, obviously a lot of community partners have been supporting you in this endeavor.
Yes. So not officially, but I've gotten great support from local art institutions. The Bronx Museum of the Arts allowed us to participate in their holiday market, where we were the #1 vendor, and the Bronx Documentary Center, the Bronx Artists Collective, so many local organizations have stepped up to promote and support my initiative.
We talked about this a few seconds ago about literacy, obviously being an important thing. Talk to us about this, because when you have literacy and you have people having the ability to, really read, and not just read, but really be able to grow through reading, how important do you feel it is to have something like this in our borough, not just in our borough, but particularly, right here in an area where literacy is really challenged?
So it's so important. Literacy is the foundation to any type of learning. And, not being literate, those statistics are tied to, education, high school dropout rates, crime, poverty. And so the only way to overcome those types of obstacles in urban, in urban inner cities, you want to make sure that everyone is literate. There's statistics that show that if you're not literate by the 4th grade, you are, your statistics, you're more likely to fall into poverty, into crime, or become succumb to teen pregnancy. So that's something that we want to. I want to bring a literary presence back to the Bronx to encourage readers, and then give children access to books, and even encourage unlikely readers. So through our unlikely, bookstore model with the wine, we want to make this a social atmosphere, and there will be periods of time where we will cater just to children. Mm-hmm. So we have a little bit of something for everyone.
And it definitely is a unique model. Are you optimistic going forward that it's going to be a model that really attracts?
Yes, absolutely. The Lit Bar is going to be a destination place. I believe that people will come from all over New York City and beyond just to come visit the Lit Bar. Just from the response that I've gotten, I've gotten proposals to franchise in all over the country, and I've even had crowdfunding supporters from Africa and all around the world. So I think that this mission it just speaks so far beyond the Bronx, and I absolutely think that this will be sustainable.
So talk to us about how people can support the Lit Bar. What do they do? So
they can go to the first thing we have. Is our crowdfunding campaign. So they can reach our crowdfunding campaign at igg.me/@/the-lit-bar. And if that's too much, you can go to thelitbar.com and just hit crowdfund and support our crowdfunding campaign. There's a lot of cool rewards that start at $10 and go up to $5,000. You can get autographed books. I have a perk that you can get an autographed book by Lin-Manuel Miranda. Gwyneth Paltrow signed the book for us. There's a lot of perks and rewards. You can host your event, get prime real estate if you're a local author, and children's books, you name it.
Well, Noelle Santos is the owner of the Lit Bar. We want to thank you for coming by and let us know as we get a little bit closer to the opening. Of course, we'll have you back again.
Thank you so much.
All right, she is the owner of the Lit Bar, Noelle Santos, and we're going to take a quick break here on the show. But listen, when we return, we're going to switch gears, talk politics, and we'll take a look at President Obama's 8 years in office that are just about over.